Yes, you should recall, I think he had, Governor Wike had boasted in December that in January he was going to, the G5, they were going to unveil their presidential.
Is that still a G5?
No, but at least at the
On
time.
paper, yes.
At the time.
At the
Okay.
time,
Right.
to unveil their presidential candidate. And then, of course, he kept talking about that. And, there's this movie by, there's this 1960s classic, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, where people like Clint Eastwood starred, where there's a very common line there that if you want to shoot, don't talk. It's always in life. It's always good to shoot if you have to shoot, because when you talk too much, you end up shooting yourself in the foot.
Not shooting at all.
Yeah, or not shooting at all, or even shooting yourself in the head. So apparently when on the 1st of February, my brother here and I discussed that. We tweeted differently, and as it coincidentally, newspaper like Daily Trust ran with that story that January deadline that G5 fails to unveil his presidential candidate. And of course, typical of Governor Wike, he responded and said that he didn't need to come to CNN to, he twisted the narrative. And also, he had said that he had also promised the PDP that he was going to hit hard after the PDP withdrew legal support for his chapter of the party in Rivers in court. And we also, what happened, yesterday, letter emanated from his commissioner for sports, revoking the use of the stadium. And I chuckled because in 2011, President Muhammadu Buhari was in Ebonyi to use the stadium, Ebonyi Township Stadium, and the governor at the time, Governor Martin Elechi, he shut the doors of the stadium in the face of President Muhammadu Buhari. And today, Muhammadu Buhari is the president, and Elechi is a floor member he's a non-ranking member of the APC in Ebonyi State. So that's life. You see, when you see, Wike talks about equity, about fairness,
and
about justice. So, but he's abusing state power. What he's done is, and even the reason, the commissioner, I'm sorry to use this word, but the commissioner gave a very idiotic reason that they have credible intelligence. I thought that.
Let's be fair with the words.
Yeah. That's also, I say I'm sorry to have a very funny reason that they got credible intelligence that PDP was working with a faction of the APC in Rivers State, and that it was likely to cause a breach of the peace. And I was started wondering, when did the commissioner for what do you call it, for sports become an intelligence? I'm not sure he read psychology. I'm not sure he's a criminologist. So for them to I also heard that the PDP Presidential Council in Rivers State, they've responded. They've written that it's preposterous for them to allege that. I mean, it doesn't make sense for PDP and APC, whatever faction, to hold a rally the same. I mean, it doesn't make sense at all. So it remains to be seen anyway what happens, and then.
So let's get in your second truth here. So he talked about the reason given, whether it holds water or not is even inconsequential to so many people. But the point that a state governor would stop another party, not even another party, his own party, from using a facility in his state.
Public.
And it's a public facility, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at this. The statement that the government released. The people in Abuja that say the national have gone to collude with them to write our lawyers a letter that they should take their hands off in order to kill cases we filed. I have told our lawyers to withdraw from the matters. I will hit them back by tomorrow. Yeah. Now, this statement, doesn't it appear like it is a premeditated action to hit back at people who you think are against you? And by the way, why would the PDP work with the APC in this state? Does it look feasible? I don't know.
Actually, what's happening in Rivers PDP and vis-a-vis what's happening at the national headquarters of the party is quite, to some extent, is complex. To another extent, is normal. But the thing is, while we look forward to what's going to happen in the next 3 weeks when we'll have go to the polls for ballots, there's need to appeal to these so-called political leaders to understand that there is life after office. That all these things they are doing, the day you leave office and there's no immunity again, some persons will come after you. You become an ordinary citizen. In law, we say that those who come to equity come with clean hands. And there is need for balance, fairness, to accommodate every person. That you are the governor in Lagos State, you can't see the poster of any other political party except APC. It appears that is what Mr. Wike is doing in Rivers State. Now, what does he want to achieve in making sure that the people in PDP, which he rightly belongs to, do not campaign in that state? You've made your point. You created the G5. But the question is, where are they headed? What is the state of that group now as we speak? He told the nation that by January this year, that they would name who they would support, the presidential candidate. Only for him to act a vote face yesterday that he never said that, but it's on record. Okay? And you look at all the states that are all the governors who are with him. How stable are they in their state?
With some claiming they were cajoled to join.
So he keeps dragging them on, and they are very unwilling to continue in this pursuit.
Now, this stopping of PDP, at the national level to use that place for campaign, the PCC, does it have any impact really, or would it have any impact on the outcome of the election in any way in that part of the state? Particularly when you listen to Atiku talking about how he's going to restructure the country, how he's going to, unite all the,
whether
all the
PDP
people.
campaigns in Rivers or not, Nigerian voters have made up their minds. And that explains why Mr. Wike cannot name a presidential candidate. Do you know why? The person he wants to name, the day he names that person, he will look back and nobody will be behind him. Okay? Nigerians have made up their minds and they know where they want to go. If I were Mr. Atiku, I'll go to River State and hold a rally anywhere. I'm a Nigerian.
Yes,
and I'll report to the security authority that I'm coming to River State and we will do our rally and we will leave and there'll be peace. That he is the governor of Rivers State does not foreclose every other Nigerians from coming to Rivers State.
But in the presence of that knowledge that there are semblances of violence, I mean, considering what has happened, and it's quite fascinating because on one hand, Wike is having this squabble with Tony Cole of APC at the state level, but at the national level seems to be felicitating with the candidate of the APC at that. So some people seem to think, what really is a conjecture? I mean, is he confused? Is he deliberate?
Some of his quarrels are personal, others are national. At the national level, he's playing national politics. While back home, he wants to maintain his own candidate to win. But the thing is that there has to be a level playing field for everybody to do that. See, history is always very important. When you do things, think of what happened to those who did it before and what will happen to you, probably happen to you after now.
Okay, sorry. Okay. But still staying on that matter, because again, 23 days to election, Rivers has a population of voters that are critical. People would argue that, and again, you have the Niger Delta dynamics, the cliques, the militants. There are different types of agitations in the South, and when you talk about bringing them together, the candidate of the PDP has often said, I mean, it was on the Daily Trust where he said majority of the positions when he wins the elections will go to the Southeast. He mentioned that from his campaign PCC. But beyond appointments, in terms of uniting the different agitating groups, the restructuring plan, Rivers is a component of that. How do you begin to reevaluate that, Chooks?
No, see, I'm not here to campaign for any candidate. But something is very instructive. You see, we look at the toxicity of certain presidential candidates. We've seen candidates who have come out to say that, who have come to call governors boys. We've seen candidates who have come to threaten to eject, who claim to be landlord of some governors and sitting governors, and if they mess up, they will eject them. You understand? And we've also seen people like Peter Obi. We've also seen people like Atiku, the way they've managed their, you see, it's on record. I've yet to see Peter Obi, use any foul language against anybody, let alone a candidate. You understand? His political rival. I've yet to see Alhaji Atiku Abubakar use any foul language. It's very instructive. You know, it shows you level of maturity. You see, there's always silence. They say is golden. Look at all the rantings, all the noise, the hue and cry by the so-called G5 governors. Did you ever see Atiku respond? Atiku never named any name. Even since Obasanjo, since 2007, even before 2007, Obasanjo has been everyday Atiku. Have you ever had Atiku respond? It's a sign of political maturity, and it shows you that. You see, the morning they say tells the day. You see, when somebody is an aspirant and is threatening people, then you imagine what he will be when he gets that power. You understand? And you know, like we discussed that, we say that, you know, backstage, that, you know, we come here, we express our views, we talk about Buhari, you know, some people say we insult him, and we go back home, nothing happens to us.
We're still on the question of restructuring and uniting.
No. It's a sign. You see, it's Atiku has been vice president, you know, vice president for 8 years, whether you like it or not. Over the years, and thereafter he's been running for political office, wanted to be president. You understand? We saw what someone like Ojikalu said some time ago, that had Atiku wanted to become the candidate of PDP in 2003, it would have been very, very easy for him because he had support of the majority of the governors. But he chose not to. You know, he paid his time. He apparently, I don't speak for him, but it should be assumed that he has his plan to fuse Nigerians, to reconcile Nigerians, because as we speak, Nigerians are really, really divided. You know, if you look at the language of political supporters, not primarily the candidates themselves, even their supporters, you go on social media, you see the kind of hate speech, you know, people spew on that, and you ask yourself, what really is going on? You know, we have thought that with experience of Jonathan in 2015, you know, voluntarily relinquishing power to, you know, conceding defeat, even when INEC had yet to formally declare the results. You understand? We have thought that. So, you know, it's very important for us to analyze the body language of the candidates. You understand? How toxic are they, or how receptive, how accommodating or how tolerant are these? Because so you have to, for you to be able to unite, you have to be very tolerant. Yes. Because if you're not a tolerant person, if you're a very caustic person, like we've seen governors who are very caustic, we've seen governors whom they didn't build, they're preventing people from using the stadium. You can imagine when they become president, you won't be able to go to national stadium to use.
Era, as long as you are holding a political position, you are get you know, bashes if you don't do well, and to get you know, kudos if you do good. So you have to, just like he said, be receptive. But then, so that we don't lose track of other stories, we still have so many stories. This story, really, you will talk on that, but don't forget to look at this story, which seems to be, you know, headline
dominating
all stories in the papers today.
That tells you the story of the ruling party. In 2014, if you recall how APC was formed, there are 4 political parties that merged to form APC. But as we speak now, the dominant parties in this amalgam are CPC and ACN. The president is from the CPC strand. The presidential flag bearer of the party is from the ACN strand. So this is where the fight is. But you cannot talk about a political party when the national working committee of the party, as it were, is not very stable. Adamu Abdullahi is the national chairman of APC. But as we speak, ask anybody who is in the know, when last the NWC of APC met.